All right, welcome to this explainer. Today we're unpacking a seriously powerful framework from the sovereign self, assertive rights, and personal accountability. If you're someone who constantly feels weighed down by what everyone else expects of you, well, you're in the right place. We're going to walk through a specific set of assertive rights designed to help you completely reclaim your personal sovereignty. Let's actually start by confronting something I think we all struggle with. Do you find yourself constantly justifying your behavior to other people? It's so exhausting, isn't it? It's like we walk through life feeling like we're constantly on trial, under a spotlight, always needing to explain our choices, our actions, or our boundaries to friends, family, or even coworkers. Now, the source material roots this whole philosophy in one core conflict: the common ways how others evaluate us. This right here is the root of the problem. We are trapped in this paradigm of constant external evaluation, and honestly, the worst part is we've internalized it. We actually believe we have to answer to those watching eyes. So, to counter this overwhelming tide of external judgment, we need to look at what the text defines as assertive rights. Think of these as your specific, built-in permissions to establish boundaries and maintain personal accountability. And the best part? You don't have to wait for anyone to grant you these rights. They are inherently yours. Okay, let's dive into Pillar 1. No excuses, no reasons. The text establishes a super firm boundary right out of the gate. It says you possess the fundamental right to offer absolutely no reasons or excuses to justify your behavior. I mean, how liberating is that? When you're hit with someone else's judgment, your default response does not have to be some defensive explanation. You are allowed to simply act. And this rule, it's meant to be absolute. Number 1, it is your behavior. And number 2, there is zero justification required. You literally do not owe the world a constant rationale for your choices. Once you internalize this, you break that whole cycle of seeking permission, and you empower yourself to act with true self-sovereignty.
Moving right along to Pillar 2, not your problem to solve.
This one shifts our focus over to the empathy boundary. The source explicitly grants you the right to judge if you are responsible for finding solutions to other people's problems. We all have that knee-jerk reaction to just jump in and untangle the mess for everyone around us, right? But the sovereign self has the right to pause, weigh the situation on an internal scale, and actively judge your own level of responsibility.
So, the very next time someone brings a crisis to your doorstep, ask yourself this: whose problem is it really? Before you put on the superhero cape to save the day, evaluate if you are genuinely accountable for solving the issue. Just recognizing that you aren't automatically the designated problem solver for everyone else is a massive step towards real personal accountability.
All right, Pillar 3, mistakes and accountability.
The framework strikes this really brilliant balance here. The right to make mistakes is directly linked to the requirement to be accountable for them. They are literally two sides of the same sovereign coin. You are entirely free to mess up, to break the vase, so to speak, because that is your assertive right. But you've got to be the one to sweep up the pieces. No excuses, just pure accountability.
Furthermore, the text affirms you even have the right to be entirely illogical in making a decision. Seriously, think about how often we paralyze ourselves trying to make the perfectly rational, universally understood choice. The source frees you from that trap. Sometimes your choices simply won't make sense to anyone else, and as a sovereign individual, you have the right to make them anyway.
And finally, we arrive at Pillar 4, the power of I don't.
These are arguably your most potent boundary-setting tools. The first one is simple but incredibly profound. Embrace the assertive right to simply state, I don't know. Society makes us feel like not knowing is a sign of incompetence, but a sovereign self recognizes that admitting ignorance is actually a super powerful boundary. It stops unnecessary evaluation dead in its tracks.
Building right on that, you equally hold the right to say, I don't understand. Think about it. You are protecting yourself from having to just nod along and pretend to grasp things merely to protect someone else's ego. It's actually an act of extreme personal accountability to stop and demand clarity, or to just admit that a concept isn't registering for you.
And perhaps the most liberating one of them all, the text fully validates your right to say, I don't care. Just think about how much energy we waste pretending to be invested in things that truly do not matter to us. This assertive right firmly sets a boundary on your emotional and intellectual bandwidth. You and only you are the sole judge of what actually deserves your care. Reclaiming your sovereignty isn't just a nice idea, it's a structured process. By actively claiming these assertive rights, stopping the excuses, evaluating your true responsibilities, boldly owning your mistakes, and wielding the immense power of I don't, you systematically build an impenetrable wall of personal accountability.
As we wrap up this explainer, think back on the framework we just walked through. You have the absolute permission to exist without constant justification. So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought. From making mistakes to simply saying, I don't care, which assertive right are you going to claim today?